In a time of endless media content, political correctness and fake news, a city in chaos cried out for heroes. Two men were chosen, a mighty force forged in the heat of hilarity. The crack, the banter, the lack of negative waves. Their podcast would change the world.
And instead they got two absolute idiots, one whose crippling narcissism will inevitably lead to someone choking him to death, the other his obsession with Stone Cold Steve Austin ended in multiple restraining orders and a broken neck, not his own. No, this isn't the number one podcast in the country, yet. It's Jack and Sean on You Ain't Heard Nothing Yet.
So we are back in the room once again. The lovely Joel Harkin is in front of us and he has decided to come in and have a wee chat with us.
Go on, help him.
Go on, help him straight. What's crack, man? How are you?
All good.
I'm surprised that you're originally from Donegal.
Aye.
I'm surprised Sean let you in the building, to be totally honest. Sean,
No issue with Donegal.
Sean wouldn't be a fan of the county.
The Donegal, the GA, Donegal and the GA.
What's wrong with Donegal and the GA?
No, Donegal and the Jack, he's between me and the door. Like. I can't get out past him.
I definitely think at one stage that Sean had Jim McGuinness's face on a dartboard. To be brutally honest.
Like, what's your views on Jim McGuinness?
Hey?
What's your views on Jim McGuinness?
I don't know anything about sports.
See, so I immediately
It's
went.
literally just the county in me.
Exactly. Or like, what do you want to call?
Anything bad about Donegal?
Is there anything bad about Donegal?
Oh, why?
Fair enough.
But nothing that you're willing to disclose at this.
No, that's not what we're here for.
No.
Donegal's great. It can improve.
I can't
improve.
approve. Like, anyway.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah. Suppose we'll start. Who are you, Joel?
Who am I?
Who are you? Tell the folks about yourself, about your music.
Oh, God. I'm 25, non-smoker. I'm...
It's not a dating app here. We're not trying to pull you like.
Don't know. See where the interview goes. Like.
Alright, boys. I describe myself as an alternative ambient folk singer. I sing sad songs. I tell stupid stories. That's the vibe.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say that because I remember seeing you last year in the Spaniard, and what I loved about your set was that the songs were sad and melancholic and they had meaning behind them. But in between each thing, you were witty, you were funny. Do you know what I mean? And it seemed very, very effortless. And I commend you for it, man. You know.
Thank you very much. I think the whole thing with that is like I enjoy doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy like storytelling, and I think it's that kind of tradition, that one of the Irish traditions that I really love, and I wanted to work that into the set in some way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's number one. Number two, you can't be a miserable bastard the entire time. Loads of people can do it. I can't do it. And number three is that I hate going to a gig and seeing loads of songs that I like, and I'm like, this is amazing, but it's just like listening to the CD because there's no chat. It's just like they play a song, then they tune up and they wait a second and say nothing, and then continue on. And I can't think of anybody off the top of my head, but like I like it to be its own experience. I like hearing a bit of chat, and so I try to not have any dead silence in between songs, because my guitar, me and my girlfriend built ourselves, so it doesn't stay in tune. So I need to tune after every song,
right,
back into standard, because by the end of a song it's like kind of slightly out, and so I'll constantly have to tune, and so I have to constantly have to talk.
Right. The reason why I loved it is because I love trad music, and they do that in trad a lot, where they'll explain after each song, where they heard it from or the story about it, and it builds it into, as you were saying, like an experience as opposed more just going and sitting and watching or standing and watching somebody who you really like.
Yeah, I think as well it piques interest, where if you have a crowd that are maybe it's a gig in a pub or something like that there, and it's not the norm that there's somebody there having a bit of a sing song, but if it is, it's kind of background music. It's nice to kind of here's the story, here's what it is, and if there's something a bit funny in it, perks people's ears. All of a sudden they're interested, and you might get more a more listenable, if that's a word, crowd. A crowd that is more inclined to listen to you.
Yeah.
Which I enjoy. I enjoy being listened to.
I'd say so. It is cool. It is on paper. Did you think it would be at odds with the music, and that people would be like, this lad's trying to be funny and then he's singing really sad songs and stuff, or
which were funny, by the way?
Yeah. Oh, we're not sad.
I agree. No, I don't know. It was weird because the whole kind of performance style that I am a part of came from when I was studying at Queen's, and I was studying music performance.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you go in every week and you play your songs and you do your performance, and you know, you act like you're performing a real gig. I suppose technically you are, but it's part of a class setting. And after you finish your gig, then it's opened up to...
It's critiqued then.
Yeah, it's critiqued by everybody else. And in turn, you know, when I was listening afterwards, I would critique.
Yeah.
And so I think it was just one day I was feeling a wee bit more energetic than normal, and just started kind of rambling these stories off, and some of them landed and some of them didn't. And everybody was like, that was very positive, because the dynamics of, like, you know, emotion in it, going from, like, you know, really sad songs would kind of make you think about things, to, okay, the songs over now, we can have a bit of a laugh. And it just meant that you know, you're coming to the end of the song and it's not, okay, I'm ready for the next sad song. It's like, oh, I wonder what he's going to say now. And then once that's done, oh yeah, here's another song. Do you know, it just kind of flows better. So it kind of came out of that, just whatever day that happened, that I got good feedback for that. And so I kind of decided this would be a good way to do it, and it's worked out so far. I enjoy doing it, and people seem to enjoy it. But I mean, there's definitely times where, you know, I'm playing a gig and it's not landing at all, but you've started out telling all these stories, so you have to keep going. So you have to not kind of put as much emphasis on if there is a punchline, so as to not even let on that you're trying to have a punchline or trying to be funny. But yeah, then there's a lot of old boys coming up to you being like, oh, it was good, but about too much chatting, you know, that kind of way. And it's like, mate, like,
what's going on here?
Just let me do what I want to do, like, fuck off.
Then, as you say, you studied music at Queen's. Was that always what you wanted to do? Something music related, or did that just...
No, I wanted to teach when I was younger, Irish and, like, math.
You fluent Gaelic?
No.
No, okay.
I was maybe at one stage. I went to like 7 Gaeltachts before I was like 15, because I did a couple of Kenra courses as well. But then I went into transition year.
Right.
Last Gaeltacht, then transition year, and just a year of like essentially no classes.
Out of the loop,
hey?
Out of the loop, just?
Yeah, and none of my family speak it, so it's like I wasn't speaking it in the house or anything like that there.
Yeah, using it on everyday basis almost, yeah.
I mean, I would love to get back into it, and I have my wee Duolingo and all that there kind of crack, learning my couple of focal, but I did work experience in transition year in a secondary, or in a primary school, the primary school I went to in Convoy. And I very quickly realised that I do not want to do this. No way, and I didn't.
That was a good thing of the
no, big time.
You didn't want to do then, you know.
I mean, at the time, I was like, I wanted to do this thing, and now I don't want to do it. But looking back, it's like that's so valuable that I didn't spend years, you know, trying to do this, and then just, you know, hitting it when I got there. But I did my other work experience slot in a studio with my uncle, and I was just like, okay, I want to be a sound engineer.
Okay.
And I mean, I am that in a capacity, sometimes, but you know, it from studying music production, music technology, and then having the option to do my performance class, and I always enjoyed performing. And I thought I would like maybe run a studio and work in a cover band or something like that there, but you know, getting to do the performance class stuff and show my own stuff and see that it like actually resonated with some of my classmates, and that they liked it, kind of spurred me on to do that a bit more.
So when did you pick up a guitar, or was a guitar that your first love in terms of instrument?
I mean, I did 5 or 6 years of piano lessons between the ages of like when I started primary school, so like 5 until like maybe 9 or 10 or 11, but I didn't do any grades, and I never progressed. Probably because I never practiced. I enjoyed it, but I never practiced. Like, I enjoyed the lessons, but I never practiced. I was more kind of interested when I would go in and the piano teacher, I'd be like, we play something, and then she'd play it, and I'd be like, oh, it's class. And she's like, oh, okay, do this again. I'd be like, okay, whatever. But my ma plays guitar, and my uncle's studio, where I mentioned earlier, I did that work experience. So Terry, obviously, he's class musician as well, and so
we plug for the studio. We plug for the studio.
Valley Music Studio in Golan, Ballybuffet.
Fantastic.
It's powerful. But so I don't think Mammy ever showed me kind of anything like prior to I was up at Terry's one day, and he was like, "Do you want to learn this riff on the guitar?" And it was just like "Sunshine of Your Love" or something like that. There, and I was just like, "Oh, this is cool as fuck."
You were like, "What is this great thing you can do?"
And then, I mean, after that, like, I kind of, you know, did my lessons and all that there kind of thing, and then Mummy showed me a couple of things.
Fair play.
But yeah, no, that's kind of it. It was mostly just like, I loved metal, and so I was learning to play an acoustic guitar, and then I did all my acoustic guitar lessons, and then my mate was like, "Oh yeah, I'll teach you some metal stuff." And then as soon as he started teaching me metal stuff, I got into folk, and I was like, "I just want to play my acoustic now." It's just the way it worked out.
Okay.
Right. And then is, as you say, the folk sort of stuff, but your folk stuff's kind of a little bit alternative ambient sort of stuff. Is how did you arrive at that sound, or did you start as like more traditional folk and move that way, or?
Here's my trajectory.
Okay.
I'm excited.
So, I was raised on a strict diet of, when I was at my ma's, Elvis Presley,
Brilliant.
Love a bit Elvis.
and when I was at my dad's, 90s trance. Okay.
Right.
Just as good. Fantastic.
I beat the classics all the way.
Lately.
Powerful. And so then I went to the Gaeltacht, and my mate showed me like,
Stairway to Heaven or something.
no, it was like Nickelback or something like that. There, it was like, it wasn't Rockstar. It was that other one.
Photograph.
No.
How you remind me?
Yeah, how you remember?
Oh, it is.
That's exact.
The 3 Nickelback songs.
He Bluetoothed it to me. And I was like, I was listening to it, and then he showed me Pink Floyd, and he showed me Blink 182,
Oh, fantastic.
and I was like, this is cool as fuck. And then I got really into like new metal in my early teens, and I realized I like all the new metal tunes that had like more singing in them. So I got into kind of screamo and emo, and then they had like acoustic versions of their kind of like indie punk,
of the
and
material,
kinda
yeah.
pop punk songs. And then from that I had recommendations for like indie folk,
Yeah.
and I found Bright Eyes. My mate Kevin was like, "You'd probably like this band if you like the acoustic version of this." And I mean, that was when I was
You
15.
never look back.
25 now. Bright Eyes are still my favourite band. I got my tickets as soon as they went on sale. And just, kind of going from that. So, I mean, I love folk music, but I love folk music that doesn't, like, stick to the norm as well. Like,
Yeah.
Alternative folk music.
Just on that, is that why you like Dylan? Because your shirt obviously had a reference to Bob Dylan, and we were chatting obviously off air earlier that we were both actually at the gig down south. Was it Dylan's folky stuff that you were like, was that a?
Yeah, well, I think I did listen to Dylan before Bright Eyes, but it was more the whole thing of like, people would tell me like, "Oh, you're listening to the Skin Acoustic stuff. You should listen to Dylan or whatever."
Yeah.
And like, these are just your mates and you're a teenager. And you're like, "Yeah, well," and like, Dylan's great, but like, I don't listen to him every day. That kind of way. Yeah. But he's a great songwriter. He's some terrible songs.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm definitely a big fan. But I suppose it is one of those things where, out of like countless kind of folk singers that there are, he did go electric. I think that's really cool. And I hate that everybody gives him shtick for it.
Abuse for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody in the bar the last day was like to me, yeah. Dylan
sold out. There's
he
all this
sold
shit.
in. He gave in to Vogue, man. And I don't even know what that means. But he's like, yeah, he picked up an electric guitar. It's a fucking sin, folk music. And I was like, fuck up.
Yeah. Slide on, like
Obviously, I didn't say this to a customer in my mind.
Yeah.
I think obviously instrumentation is important, and it does kind of play a big factor on the sound. But you can have an electric guitar in folk music. That's fine.
Yeah.
You can have a synth in folk music. That's fine.
Yeah.
I think.
Mix it in. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of your background, as you say, sound engineer and study and that sort of stuff, would you say that also impacts your sound in terms of how you play around with it more?
Definitely
and maybe
shaped
go
it.
outside the norm?
Definitely shaped it. I think that my producer George Sloan,
Woo!
big George,
Love you, George.
Half Bap Studio.
In.
Hey,
Where's that in? Sorry.
what do you call the name of that street? Commercial Court
Oh, very good. Okay.
in the Cathedral Quarter,
Brilliant.
beside the Duke of York. So it's really nice. Like, for ages, for the longest time, before I met George, I was like, yeah, I want to I'm a sound engineer. I'm still not in any way practiced, or good at it, but I know about things. I
Yeah.
know about frequency, man. But I was always like, yeah, I'll write the songs, I'll record them, I'll mix them, I'll master them.
Do it himself.
We both.
But then I met George, and George is like incredible.
Phenomenal, yeah.
Vastly better than everyone. He's fantastic. And being able to sit down and, like, because the thing about George as well is that he's a folkhead.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the difference between going to like an engineer who's like might like some folk music, but you know wouldn't be the same as me being like, do you know this really specific niche track?
Yeah.
And then George being like, I know exactly what you mean. And then I don't have to say anything more. He just like, he knows exactly what I'm talking about for the specific thing that we're working on. And that's the thing as well, is that we can work on it together. And I, to a certain extent, know what I'm talking about most of the time. So it definitely has shaped the sound in that way. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah. That was a much better answer than I even expected. Not to say about a low bar.
Great.
Jesus Christ, Sean insulting him on there for fuck's sake.
What?
No, that's
Did you insult me?
no, God, no.
Good.
No, I was just, when you say about that you have like a background in, you know, working in sound engineering and that, do you find that you can be, it's very hard to let a track go, for example?
Yeah.
You know, that you're always, you know, trying to tweak it and make it better and better and better, and sometimes you just have to, you know, sit there and leave it and say, no, that's as good as it is, and I'm wasting my own time and frustrating myself, you know, trying to make it any more brilliant because it's already brilliant, you know what I mean?
I think that's like one of the really good things about having like George work on the like produce the tracks with me as well, is that, you know, when it is just yourself sitting, you just get an absolute hole. You spend hours on it, one EQ for a snare drum, and you're just like, oh, I don't want to listen to this anymore. I'm sick of this track. I don't even want to put it out. But you've got two heads, and like one of us will be like, I'm not happy with this, and then they'll be like, and I'll be like, or he'll be like, oh, I am. What's not happy about it? And then tweak a wee thing, and then it'll be like, oh yeah, I see what you mean. Or we'll both just instantly be happy, or if we're both not happy, we know we're not on the money. But you know, having him to kind of bounce back off of, I think really helps with that kind of thing. I don't think I've got bogged in like the whole album so far. We haven't got bogged down in anything. We've definitely taken tangents where we're like, let's play with this delay for 40 minutes, and then we look at our clocks and we're like,
Fuck.
shit, right, okay, let's get back on track here. But no, I've throughout making the album that we're currently making, I've just enjoyed the whole process. I think it's been, I've never felt like, oh, I need to stop doing this track right now. Some of our session musicians maybe felt that about one specific track, which apparently doesn't make sense in music, but I don't care. I like it. So, but no, for me, it's been cool. I really enjoyed it.
So, like, what, you know, you've put out some music. What do you write about? What if, for people who don't know you, or maybe haven't heard some of your stuff, you know, what's your, are you influenced by the world problems? Are you influenced by, you know, when you're writing, for example, or is it just as, you know, mundane everyday life, or, you know, what do you draw on?
But everything, really. I mean, I'm not really writing anything at the minute because I'm just have like a big block for like any kind of lyrics, but I feel like that happened because I don't write really that often at all. Probably not as often as I should. Like, I mean, I'll write loads of like music-y parts. Yeah. Not that lyrics isn't music, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I understand.
It's like I'll have loads of like finished guitar bits. This is the bit of this song that I haven't written the lyrics for, that I'm playing guitar. But I don't feel like I have anything to say now. And I know there's people like I think Ed Sheeran says he writes a song every day, and like power to him, but
yeah, fair folks, but
I can't do that. Yeah. Like, I feel like I really need to be in the mood, and I really need to be like I really need to want to write about a specific thing to actually sit down and do it. In the past I've written about just like regular
just
life,
normal,
like, like going on holidays, and
we all love going on holidays, like,
and like stories that I've kind of come up with in my head, or have this song about some of the characters of the 1991 classic My Girl. You know the
oh yes,
some of them characters,
Stung by a Bee.
Yeah. Meeting some of my mates from real life. There's a song. More recently, maybe just because I've kind of become more interested in current affairs. I'm writing a lot about housing crisis and
In the south of, well, I suppose, there's housing crisis and homelessness everywhere.
Yeah.
But Ireland, north and south, is obviously in a bad shape at the moment.
yeah, no, we're not happy with
No,
it.
it's not a good job. Like.
Not to speak for you boys, but I can
no.
say
Oh,
no,
collectively we're not very happy about it.
It's not ideal.
I live in Dublin. I can see it every day. Like, it's not the one. It's not the one.
No.
So
And are those, as you said, the tracks to the current affairs? Are those on the album you're working on, or are those?
Yeah.
Those-
Because the songs, I mean, some of the songs were written last year. Some of the songs were written 4 or 5 years ago. But these are the songs out of the ones that I've written that I think like most accurately represent what I kind of want to push or want to be or want the message to be. So it's not just all like the world is bad.
Yeah.
There's some like, here's me thinking about my life when I'm 20. Or here's a song about my dad moving away. So yeah, there's a good. I cover a lot of ground. I think.
It's good.
well, tell
lyrically.
us this. You're down in Mayo, Ballina.
Aye.
It's happening. Do you know what I mean? I'm a fan of Mayo. I spend 2 weeks there every year. I tried it. It's a nice part of the world.
I've never been to Mayo, only maybe through it. But oh wait, no, Kong's in Mayo, isn't it?
Kong.
Aye, from where the Quiet Man set.
That's right. That is right.
Somebody tried, because Other Voices that Jack's going to ask about is in Ballina, and somebody tried to tell me the Quiet Man was in Ballina when I told them that. But they're wrong, evidently.
it's Kong.
It's Kong.
I've seen the Quiet Man. Yeah. Are you looking forward to it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah?
big time.
Fair
Big time.
play.
It's going to be class. I was down in Dingle
Uh-huh.
a couple of years ago.
Place I've never been actually, and Dingle is beautiful. I've seen photos. Obviously, like I've never been to Dingle, but
It's class.
Yeah.
I went as a Wayne. I seen Fungi. Deadly. He was jumping out of the water. Class. Was down a couple of years ago with this other band I used to play with for Forsters from Donegal. And got to do that whole thing playing session guitar. It was amazing. So I'm really excited to go down and like do the exact same thing. But it's like, it's my songs now.
Yeah.
And it's cool to like it was the first time I had gone to Dingle in like an adult capacity where I can like I'm gonna walk around and explore because
Yeah,
I can and not
like an
be,
adventure.
and not be like it and they'll be like don't wander off. So I'm
Stay
excited.
where we can see you.
Big time.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to be able to go and do that in Ballina as well, and I'm going down a couple of days early because I have holiday time to take. So me and Deirdre are going to go down a few days early, go for some walks, have some hot ports,
Fantastic.
read our books. It's going to be very enjoyable.
Okay.
Delightful.
And I'm excited to just like walk around and see bands as
Yeah.
well. Like it's cool. It's like I suppose it'll be like how Output was, except across a whole town instead of just like the Cathedral Quarter.
Concentrated in one small
Yeah.
area, I suppose. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's gonna. If it was anything like it was when I went a couple of years ago, it's gonna be powerful. Like,
And I got to ask you, do you get nervous at all before gigs or anything like that?
oh why?
Yeah.
Big time. I used to book before every gig,
Seriously.
and if I didn't book before a gig, I'd be even more nervous because they were like, "Oh, I'm gonna book on stage." Like,
Oh no.
but
Never happened, did it?
no, came close a couple of times, definitely. But no, I'm not as bad as I was, definitely. I don't know if I'm just like getting cocky with it now because I've just played more gigs, but
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'll book on stage in my life now out of nerves. Maybe if I'm sick or something.
Yeah.
But not out of nerves. I'm still nervous, but
I always
I
like
was nervous.
because I've done a bit of acting stuff as well, so I always think that a wee bit of nerves are good. Do you know what I mean?
Have you?
What can I say? Do you know what I mean? I'm waiting for Hollywood and Spielberg to give me a big call up. You know what I mean?
Fair to you, man. Fair play to you.
But that's what I'm saying. Just around, do you know, like as a sort of as a coping thing? I mean, just on that sort of whole nervous thing. Is there anything, is there anything that you do to deep breaths, or is it just fuck it? Get up and you just have to jump in.
There's a great video on YouTube called 5-Minute Vocal Warm Up, and the guy in it has a lovely accent,
Right.
and I don't even know what he's saying. I know what he's saying when he's like la 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 la.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
you just type in 5-minute vocal warm up on YouTube. It's like the first result, and he's just like lip roll up, and I do that, which is like good for my voice, yes, but also it's like, okay, this is exactly what I do every time now before I play, and it kind of, you know, puts you in the mindset of I'm ready to scream at the audience now. You know.
And then, well, Output a few weeks ago, played there. Is that your first time playing Output?
Yeah.
Is that correct? How was that? Was that exciting, nervous?
It was lovely. 'Cause I've been to like every Output, like in the capacity of like going to the talks in the morning since it started, and all, like I've only been to the showcase in the evenings maybe 3 or 4 times. Just things like, you know, you get the morning off work, but you can't get the evening off work. Or the first time I went to it, I was coming back home because I wasn't living in Belfast at the time. I was coming back afterwards, so go to things and then have to go home and can't stick about for it. But it was lovely that, like, just for myself, for that kind of, to see a kind of trajectory or a journey's the wrong word, to see progression.
There we go.
Sean the wordsmith over here.
That's hard.
Round of applause. A progression of, here I am starting out, I'm going to some of the showcases, I don't know anybody, I'm going to the showcases, I know loads of people here, there's all my mates, some of them are playing, some of them are knocking about, to, I'm getting to play. I've wanted to play at it for so many years, and so it was so nice to finally get to do that, and it was so enjoyable.
What is the process for selecting artists? Do they just ask you, do you want to play? Or
Yeah, it has been that for the past all of the past Output. I think this year they did have an application for one of the stages, but I mean, I put in for it and I got asked to do it. I don't know if it was through that or just through regular. They didn't tell me if it was.
You were happy enough.
You were happy enough. Take it away. Send a hundred.
Listen, this is it. I wanted to do it, and I wasn't going to be like, come here, yeah, I'll definitely do it. But how did I? I don't know.
Take the money and run, as they say. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's just a dream. It was a dream, boys, big time.
But no, I was lucky enough to see you at the OEI Centre. You were very, very good.
Thank you.
First act of... How many acts did you saw? How many did you want to see? I
wanted to see 11. I seen 9.
I wanted to see 6 and saw 4. So I was aiming much. I was much less ambitious.
I had like the night before I sat down and dead out like my timetable for the entire day because I'm on the Scratch program as well with the OES Centre, the talent development program this year, and so the talks in the MAC started at 10 and ended at 5. But we had a talk at 9, and we had a talk at 5:30, and a talk at 6:15 as well.
Okay.
And the drinks reception then as well, and then my sound check was at 7. Played at 8.
Ding dustman.
And then immediately went to all things. So I was like, I'm doing out a full plan for the day, what time and what it is and where I need to be. And so just sat down and went through every band, and some of them were like, you know, I'm not gonna have time to get to this. I'm gonna try to. I want to go see them. It's a small venue though, I might not get in. And you do get in or you don't get in. But I thought 9 out of 11 was fine.
Oh yeah,
considering I played
good
as
going,
well. You know,
very
pretty good batting average. Who did you particularly enjoy, or who did you think were standouts?
Particularly enjoyed Junk Drawer. Really good. I had to watch them through a bicycle. You know, the bicycle.
Oh, you were over there.
I was over. Like I couldn't get anywhere because I was farting about so much and coming in like halfway through people's sets, but just in the kind of interest of seeing everybody. So I just went around the side of the stage and I had to watch them for a couple of minutes
through a bike
between the bike.
Did the bike add anything or take anything away? Or?
I mean, it made for a good Instagram story. But they were really good. No Wild Pittons, as always, are perfect. Problem patterns for class, charm for class. I mean, everybody was class.
Everybody was good.
But yeah, no, it was a great night.
When you say that you're on the Scratch program with OEA, you know, I've seen different talks in there before and all the rest, and it's thank God that we have that here. That, you know, there's, you know, places like that are, you know, helping upcoming musicians.
Oh, wow.
Can you talk about that at all, or like, you know, what does that involve, or
Scratch?
Yeah.
Cool. Yep. So it runs from September to May. There's 4 of us. There's me, Sasha Samara, Cloakroom Q, and Connor Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
And just for those, how many months is that?
9.
8? 9?
Mm-hmm.
Those 9 months, they kind of do everything in their power to kind of mentor us and propel us in the right direction in each of our individual endeavors. There's master classes, PR workshops. There's they fully fund a recording day for us where we all take a song that we want, and it's not we're all in the one day. We all have our own separate day.
Yes,
You go into the studio. We went to start together upstairs in the OES Centre with Rocky, and spend a day, record a single, and then they put it out as part of their compilation every year.
Oh, okay.
And throw it up on Spotify and send it to all their contacts. And then as part of Sound of Belfast, that was launched on one of the nights of Sound of Belfast, and so there's obviously lots of industry over for that, and they encourage them to come to the gigs and see us and meet us, and we get to meet them, and it's just kind of like a whole year of this kind of thing that like just helping us develop our musical skills, our like networking, just learning the skills that you need to know to kind of make it a job that you can use to pay the bills, as opposed to having another job which you use to fund paying your bills and being a musician. It's fantastic, it's incredible. It's great.
Excuse.
There was a track you mentioned a while back about your dad moving away, Charlie and Deirdre.
Yes,
because
I remembered.
And I was just.
Did you not pronounce his girlfriend's name?
He pronounced it
Was it
differently than I would have.
Deirdre?
Yes, I was going to say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see,
I mean, someone's name is pronounced how they tell you it's pronounced.
I know, that's why I'm not. Yeah, that's why I'm not agreeing with your pronunciation. Yeah,
You're agreeing with it.
yeah.
You don't have to agree with it.
I would prefer to agree with it, because, as I say, you're still between me and the door.
As if I'm going to do anything. But yeah, no, do say it right, good man.
Sorry.
But no, yeah, that track. Obviously, we saw it performed. You performed it when we saw you at the Spaniard a few years ago, again at the OES Centre that day. Could you just talk about that track and what went into it? Because it's like it's 2 stories sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So it came out of my dad. Well, the song came out of my dad telling me first and foremost that he got offered a job being a bar manager in an Irish bar in Spain, which is something he's wanted to do. He wanted to do for his like entire life. I remember when I was away, and I was in like 5th or 6th class, and I feel like we had just gotten a KFC takeaway. We were in the car.
Okay.
We were driving around the roundabout in front of the hospital in Letterkenny. I remember this so vividly. And I was like, finishing up primary school now, either now or I say that I remember it vividly and I can't remember what year I was in, but
it was KFC.
It was definitely KFC. But I was like, nearly finished, soon I'll be in secondary school, and I'll be away to university then, or college or whatever. And he was like, sure, I'll be away in Spain then. And I cried. I was just like, I was just like, oh, what? Like my dad's not going to be about.
Yeah.
And so, years go on, and then he gets on to me. He's like, I've been offered this, and I've wanted to do it for ages. And I was like, right, cool, but
it's a lot to take as a young man,
Yeah, well, I mean, what age was I then? I was like 22 or 23. It's only a couple of years ago.
Okay.
But we got off the phone, and that was grand. And I was just like, okay, I need to like work this out.
Yeah.
And I just started writing about it, which is, I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but like it can be therapeutic. And so it did help me organise my thoughts about it all and kind of be less selfish about it. And he did go to Spain, and he was out there for a year and a half, 2 years, and had a ball, and it was amazing. And I went out to him and visited him, and get clean wrecked, and it was amazing. I mean, it's a weird place. Definitely, it's a weird town, but like I really enjoyed it. It was really nice. And so the kind of first part of the song is just about him telling me and me kind of deciding how I feel about it. And then around the same time as that, my partner Deirdre she was studying in Queen's psychology. Sin music. Sin means without, doesn't it?
Sin means without.
Couldn't tell you.
Sin means without.
Okay, we'll go with it.
Yeah, cool. But hated the course, and so decided she would go back. She would go and take an offer that she'd got the year before to study in Dublin instead. And she did international relations there, and so the whole song kind of became about kind of dealing with and accepting that, you know, people in my life anyway that I care about, that it's okay for them to like not be around me all the time. It's fine. Big moment for me to not be like, you just have to be about all the time for when I want to speak to you. It's me we're talking about here. I'm very important. But I mean, it was sad at the time, definitely. But she had she enjoyed that course a lot more than she enjoyed psychology. And
fair play to you, because you know it can be always hard to like let people go and do, you know, their dreams or what they want to do over your own, you know, your own wants or desires. You know what I mean? So like fair fucks, like.
I mean, thanks, but also it was much more difficult for them to go and do something completely new. Like,
what's that about? Like, what's that about? I get that.
Maybe that speaks to more how selfish you are, Jack.
But no, as to, you know, for, you know, people that are close around you, like, I get it, like.
No, I mean, it is one of those.
Sean got a girlfriend and I lost him, so you know.
It's a big change for everybody. It was a bigger change for them, but I mean, I'm really happy for them. And you know, skip forward to today. The old boy's back in Letterkenny. He had a great time. He goes out to Spain constantly now to keep up the golf with all his mates. And
that tan they're not going to tan itself, do you know what I mean?
And like, he really did have a tan. Like, it was mad. It was really mad. I went out and I was like, obviously I had video chatted him loads of times. And I went out and seen him and I was like, wow, you really do have a tan. It was mad. It was crazy. He looked great. He looks great.
Fair play.
But Deirdre finished in Dublin. She graduated, and we have a house together now in Belfast, and it's lovely. So
congratulations, Deirdre, on her.
Yeah, big time.
Fair play
to Deirdre. You're great.
Fair folks.
And have a lovely fire in their house. Sounds great.
Listen, we only burn smokeless fuel.
Yeah, let's get that clear right now.
Get that on record.
And you know what? People say it doesn't give off enough heat. It gives off loads of heat. Wise up.
Throw a jumper on.
Yeah, if you're still cold. Sean, do you have anything else to?
I've one more, and then we'll wrap up. You don't want to get sick of us, like, do you?
Yeah.
I'm happy enough. Let's
go through your whole discography breakdown every song. Is just really how we talked about different like progress and stuff, like, you know, wanting to play output and getting there. How did you start out in, like, I assume the Letterkenny sort of area, and then move toward the Belfast area? Is that just kind of where you need to move maybe to make the contacts, or how did that progress or process happen?
I don't think. Well, it's a difficult one. I think that if you're in, like, obviously coming from Letterkenny, so I played in Letterkenny a lot, and if you want to come play in Belfast and you're someone who plays in Letterkenny, you can do that. I have a lot of mates who are in bands and who are still based in Letterkenny, Donegal, and they come up and they play gigs, and they go down to Dublin and they play gigs, and it's great. I think that, you know, it is maybe easier to get gigs quicker if you like are able to be about and kind of be a part of the scene. Not that you're not a part of the scene if you're living somewhere else, but like you're going to gigs, you're playing gigs. The scene is small here. Everybody kind of knows everybody.
Because I thought that was something that came across very much at a lot of the output gigs, that you saw, you would go to these gigs and it'd be like, it's a lot of people you see at different gigs around town throughout the year. Like, it's the same sort of couple of hundred people. It's
lovely though.
Oh yeah.
It's really nice. So I think it like definitely you can kind of progress from there. But I mean, I've definitely heard a lot of people be like, you know, from Belfast, be like, oh, you know, you have to get to London or Manchester if you wanna do anything. And I've heard people from like the south of Ireland be like, oh, you have to get to Dublin. You know, if you're in Cork or Galway. And I've heard people in Donegal be like, oh, you have to get to Dublin, or you have to get to Belfast, or you have to get to London. I don't think you need to do that. I mean, music is like international now because of things like Spotify and the internet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, definitely...
Being on the ground helps, but it's not the be-all, end-all.
Yeah, I don't think it's the be all and end all. Like, you can meet somebody and keep up with them online, and you know, you make your contacts and you move on. For me, it just happened that like I really like Belfast, but I wouldn't like, and so maybe one would think that I came from Convoy, Letterkenny to Belfast, a bigger place, and got on better. That my line of thinking would be, well, go to the next big place. But I could not arse going to somewhere like London or Dublin. I couldn't afford it for one thing.
without a doubt,
But the vibe, I don't. It's too busy. Belfast is like home for me.
Oh, without a doubt.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, obviously there's differences in accents and different colloquialisms, but for the most part, people talk
Similarly.
similarly. And I can say I, and I can say no, and not get looked at like I have two heads. Like, I like that. I just like that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I agree. And like I said, I'm in Dublin, and we talk very fast in the north. We talk incredibly fast, probably because we're always trying to talk over the top of each other. And I have to slow down for people in Dublin who can't, don't fucking know what I'm talking about. Do you know what I mean? Times. So I know where you're coming from that one. I know. What about our pint question, Sean?
We have a pint question.
We do.
A pint
A
question.
pint question.
You drink pints?
You enjoy a pint?
I mean, anytime I'm in a pub, it's kind of like a busman's holiday. Do you know that kind of way?
Yeah.
I enjoy a pint the odd time. Sure.
Yeah.
So essentially the question is, and it's either going to bomb or go down pretty well, right? You're a barman, you're knowledgeable about pints, surely.
You don't have to drink to know about them, I suppose. So, yeah.
Okay, let's go with this. Go ahead.
We'll see where this goes. We can cut this.
Don't leave it in. I don't care what you better leave us in.
To describe yourself and or your music as a pint, what pint would it be?
I don't. I don't know. What's a sad pint? I don't know. A sad pint. I don't know. I think it's too hard. My favourite pints are Kinniger, Harp Shandy, and West Coast Cooler. And I don't know if any of them relate to my music.
No, it's fine.
But
well, look, thank you very, very, very much for coming in and chatting us.
thank you for having me.
Where can people find you and your music, online or in person or?
On the internet, mostly. I mean, I suppose somebody, like, we could be, me and somebody potentially could be in the same room and I could be singing to them.
There's a
But
chance.
just because that we're in the same room doesn't mean necessarily that I would be singing to them.
Yes.
I could just be having a chat with them. I could be standing next to them and we could not be interacting. I could be serving them cool and refreshing beverages. But yeah, if it's like a gig I'm playing, I'll definitely like be playing music like that. You know what I mean?
That would be ideal.
So yeah, no, in person at a gig, you can find my music, and on the internet.
Okay.
Those would be the two main places.
Okay,
Fair
that's
play.
good.
Are we going to get a tune out of you? Is that?
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
Shippable?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, well, what we're going to do is go and let Joel get set up, and we'll be right back after this. So, folks, we're back again. You just heard from Joel. That was a lovely interview. Joel, thank you very, very much. He's going to play us a wee tune, and it's going to be brilliant because we've seen him live and we think he's brilliant. So, Joel, take it away whenever you're free, man.
I'm free now, yeah. Thought I'd go home, but I stayed alone. Lay on my bed, looked through your pictures. I held my hands in my head. My mother's coat and your breathing was loud as I dug a a hole. Though you never said 2 words to me, there was something that just was so easy. Your eyes were brown. You made my favorite sounds. Doll, I love how you looked at me. But you're not around, and it's hard to go home now. So I stay here, you know, I watch TV, and I often think, when I'm on the brink, how those brown eyes perceive. Was I good enough? Was I passable? Was I all that you'd hoped I'd be? The day we met and we ran you a bath to let the warm water wash away a troubled past. Towel dried, you fell asleep next to the fire. Could it be true? This is all you desire. Shall I?